Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. This one is all about getting you prepped for your animal-assisted therapist job interview. We'll be using RoleCatcher's resources to break down some of those tricky questions that might pop up, and we'll sprinkle in some career insights from their guides, to help you really stand out to potential employers.
Exactly. We want you leaving this deep dive feeling super confident and prepared to showcase your skills and passion for this really amazing field.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. One of the first questions RoleCatcher highlights is, well, it's a classic. Can you describe your experience working with animals? It seems pretty straightforward, but I'm guessing there's a bit more to it than just like listing every pet you've ever had.
Absolutely. Interviewers are really looking for evidence of your genuine passion for animals and also a really solid understanding of, their behavior and welfare. So instead of just saying, I love animals, think about specific experiences that really showcase, your knowledge and skills. So have you volunteered at an animal shelter, maybe interned at a vet clinic, even training your own pet? Can be a valuable anecdote if you highlight the right elements.
So it's kind of like framing those everyday interactions in a professional light, right? Like instead of saying, I taught my dog to fetch, you could explain like the steps you took, the challenges you faced, and how you adapted your approach based on your dog's personality and their learning style.
Exactly. It shows that you're not just a passive pet owner, but someone who actively engages with animals and understands their individual needs. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really game-changing. Their platform can analyze specific job descriptions and identify keywords that are related to animal experience, suggesting ways to tailor your answers to match the employer's expectations.
That's incredible. It's like having a personalized interview prep team, but like right there on your computer. Let's move on to a question that might feel a little trickier. How do you handle difficult or aggressive animals? I imagine that comes up quite a bit in this line of work.
Oh, it definitely does. And it's a super crucial question. Interviewers need to know that you can handle these challenging situations safely and effectively. So the key here is to demonstrate a calm and confident approach. Don't shy away from acknowledging that these situations can arise, but focus on highlighting your knowledge of de-escalation techniques and positive reinforcement training.
So instead of just saying, I'd stay calm, you could give specific examples of de-escalation techniques that you've learned or used.
Right.
Like creating space for the animal, avoiding direct eye contact, or using calming signals.
Exactly. The more specific you can be, the more confident you'll appear. And if you've taken any specialized courses or workshops on animal behavior management, definitely mention those as well.
Right. It shows that you're committed to professional development and, staying up to date on best practices. Now, I know RoleCatcher has a whole database of sample answers for tricky questions like this, but how does their AI actually provide feedback on your responses?
So RoleCatcher's AI analyzes your answers for clarity, conciseness, and relevance to the specific job description. It can even detect subtle cues like tone and word choice, suggesting improvements to help you project confidence and expertise.
That's so helpful. It's like having a virtual interview coach right there with you. Let's shift gears for a second and talk about the human side of this job. RoleCatcher's next question is, can you describe your experience working with individuals with mental health issues? This one feels a bit more delicate. What's the best way to approach it?
You're absolutely right. This question requires sensitivity and professionalism. The key is to highlight relevant experiences that demonstrate your understanding of mental health conditions and therapeutic approaches, while maintaining, of course, client confidentiality. So think about any volunteer work that you've done at mental health organizations, internships in clinical settings, or relevant coursework you took during your studies.
Okay, so even if you haven't worked directly with clients in a therapeutic setting, you can still draw on experiences that have helped you develop empathy.
Yeah.
And active listening skills.
Yeah.
And a non-judgmental approach.
Exactly. For example, you could talk about volunteering at a crisis hotline, participating in a mental health awareness campaign, or even, providing support to a friend or family member who is struggling. The key is to connect those experiences to the skills and qualities needed for an animal-assisted therapist role.
That makes sense. Now, I'm curious, does RoleCatcher offer any insights into the specific mental health challenges that are faced by different client populations?
Right.
Because I imagine the needs of a child with autism might be quite different from those of a veteran with PTSD.
You're absolutely right. And that's where RoleCatcher's career guides are incredibly helpful. They provide in-depth information on various specializations within animal-assisted therapy, outlining the typical challenges faced by different client groups and the ways animals can be incorporated into their treatment plans. This kind of research can help you craft informed and sensitive answers that demonstrate a genuine understanding of the clients that you'll be working with.
That's fantastic. It really sounds like RoleCatcher is really committed to providing a comprehensive view of this career path, not just, focusing on the interview prep, but also helping you understand, the nuances of different specializations.
Exactly. They want you to be well prepared and confident, not just in the interview room, but also in your future career.
Okay, let's get to the heart of the matter. How do you incorporate animals into your therapy sessions? This is where I imagine your passion for this unique approach to therapy, can really shine.
It absolutely can, but it's important to go beyond, simply expressing your love for animals. Interviewers want to see that you have a clear understanding of animal-assisted therapy principles and techniques. They want to know that you have a plan for how the animal will be integrated into the therapy session, what role the animal will play, and how that will contribute to the client's goals.
So it's not just about letting the dog, roam free in the therapy room. And hoping for the best.
Definitely not.
Huh?
You need to be able to articulate the specific ways that animals can facilitate, therapeutic interventions. For instance, you could talk about how a dog can be used to motivate a child with motor skill challenges during physical therapy, how a cat can provide comfort and reduce anxiety for an individual who's struggling with social interaction, or how a horse can help a teenager with emotional regulation, build confidence and self-esteem.
Those are great examples. They really highlight the versatility of animal-assisted therapy and how it can be tailored to meet the specific needs of each client. Now, I know RoleCatcher's career guides offer insights into different specializations, but do they also provide guidance on how to choose a niche within this field?
They absolutely do. RoleCatcher's guides not only provide an overview of different specializations, but they also offer self-assessment tools and exercises to help you identify your strengths, interests, and an ideal client population. This can be incredibly helpful in narrowing down your focus and tailoring your job search to find the most fulfilling career path within animal-assisted therapy.
That's fantastic. It takes the guesswork out of figuring out, where you fit within this diverse field. Speaking of showcasing your experience, RoleCatcher's next question is a classic storytelling prompt. Can you describe a time when an animal played a significant role in a therapy session? Now, I love a good animal story, but I'm guessing there's a fine line between sharing a heartwarming anecdote and maintaining client confidentiality. How do you strike that balance?
You're absolutely right. The key is to choose a story that highlights the animal's positive impact on a client's progress without revealing any sensitive or identifying information. So focus on observable changes and outcomes rather than, personal details or subjective interpretations.
So, for example, instead of saying my dog helped a young boy with anxiety open up and start talking about his feelings, you could say something like, I observed a noticeable increase in verbal communication and engagement from a young client during sessions that involved animal-assisted therapy.
Exactly. You're still showcasing the power of the human-animal bond, but doing so in a way that respects client confidentiality and professional boundaries.
That makes perfect sense. Now, I've heard that RoleCatcher can actually analyze the stories you share and help you identify relevant skills to highlight on your CV and LinkedIn profile. Is that true?
It absolutely is. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze your anecdotes for keywords and phrases that align with common skills that employers are looking for in the animal-assisted therapy field. It can then suggest ways to incorporate those keywords into your CV, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn profile, ensuring that your application materials, really showcase your most relevant experience and expertise.
It's brilliant. It takes the guesswork out of figuring out which skills to emphasize and how to present them effectively. Okay, let's move on to another important aspect of this career, teamwork. RoleCatcher's next question is, can you describe your experience working with interdisciplinary healthcare teams?
Now, collaboration is key in any healthcare setting, but I imagine it's especially important in a field like animal-assisted therapy, where you might be working alongside, therapists, doctors, social workers, and other professionals.
You're absolutely right. Collaboration is crucial in this field. And interviewers want to see that you understand the importance of working effectively as part of a team. They want to know that you can communicate clearly, respect other professionals' roles,
Right.
and contribute your unique skills and knowledge to the team's overall goals. Okay, so even if you haven't worked extensively on healthcare teams in the past, you can still highlight transferable skills from other areas of your life. Like if you've captained a sports team or organized a community event or even collaborated on a group project in school, those experiences can demonstrate your ability to work effectively with others.
Absolutely. The key is to draw clear connections between those experiences and the skills required for teamwork. In an animal-assisted therapy setting, for instance, you could talk about how captaining your soccer team taught you the importance of clear communication, conflict resolution, and motivating others toward the shared goal.
That's a great example. It shows that you've thought about the transferable nature of those skills
Yeah.
and how they apply to this specific career path. Now, I know RoleCatcher's career guides provide insights into different roles within the healthcare team, but do they also offer any tips on how to build rapport and communicate effectively with professionals from diverse backgrounds?
They certainly do. RoleCatcher's guides emphasize the importance of active listening, respectful communication, and understanding the perspectives of other team members. They also offer practical tips for navigating potential challenges like conflicting opinions or communication breakdowns, ensuring that you're prepared to handle the complexities of teamwork in a professional and constructive manner.
That's incredibly helpful. It sounds like RoleCatcher really goes above and beyond to prepare you for every aspect of this career, not just the technical skills, but also the interpersonal skills needed to thrive in a collaborative environment.
Exactly. They understand that animal-assisted therapy is a multifaceted field that requires a broad range of skills and qualities, and their resources reflect that comprehensive approach.
Okay, let's circle back to animal welfare for a moment. RoleCatcher's next question is, how do you ensure the safety and welfare of animals in animal-assisted therapy sessions? Now, I know we've touched on this topic before, but I feel like it's worth emphasizing because it's such a fundamental aspect of this work.
You're absolutely right. Animal welfare is paramount in this field, and interviewers will want to see that you have a deep understanding of ethical guidelines and best practices for ensuring the animal safety and well-being. So, go beyond simply saying, I love animals, and be prepared to articulate specific protocols and procedures that you would follow to monitor animal stress, manage behavior, and maintain a safe environment for both animals and clients.
So, for example, you could talk about how you would recognize signs of stress in an animal, how you would implement rest breaks and timeouts, and how you would handle, unexpected behaviors or situations.
Exactly. The more specific you can be, the better. And if you have any specialized training or certifications in animal welfare or behavior management, definitely highlight those as well.
Right. It shows that you're not just relying on intuition or good intentions, but that you have, a solid foundation of knowledge and skills to ensure the animal's well-being. Now, I'm curious, does RoleCatcher offer any resources specifically focused on animal welfare and ethical considerations within animal-assisted therapy?
See, they certainly do. RoleCatcher's career guides delve into the ethical principles and guidelines that govern animal-assisted therapy, highlighting the importance of informed consent, animal selection, training protocols, and an ongoing monitoring of the animal's physical and emotional health. They also provide resources on recognizing and addressing potential ethical dilemmas that might arise in practice.
That's fantastic. It's clear that RoleCatcher takes animal welfare very seriously and is committed to ensuring that both animals and humans benefit from these therapeutic interventions. Now, let's talk about measuring the effectiveness of animal-assisted therapy interventions. This seems like a more analytical side of the job, which might feel daunting if you don't have a strong background in data analysis.
You're right. It can feel intimidating if you're not a numbers person, but it's an important aspect of any therapy profession. Interviewers will want to know that you understand the importance of tracking client progress, evaluating outcomes, and using data to inform your practice.
Okay. But how do you talk about outcome measurement without sounding like you're just reciting textbook definitions?
Focus on the why behind the data collection. Explain why it's important to track client progress. Use evidence-based practices and continually evaluate the effectiveness of interventions. You can also mention specific tools or methods that you're familiar with, like observation checklists, client feedback surveys, or goal tracking software.
So instead of just saying, I'd collect data, you could say something like, I believe it's crucial to track client progress using a combination of quantitative and qualitative methods to ensure that the therapy is meeting their individual needs and goals.
Exactly. It shows that you understand the purpose of data collection and that you're committed to providing evidence-based care. And here's where RoleCatcher's AI can be incredibly helpful. Their platform can analyze specific job descriptions and identify keywords related to outcome measurement, enabling you to incorporate the precise terminology that the employer is looking for.
That's amazing. It's like having a personal tailor for your interview responses.
Precisely. It's truly inspiring to see how passionate people are about this field and how technology like RoleCatcher can help them, achieve those career goals.
Absolutely. It's like having a whole team of career advisors and animal experts.
Yeah.
Right there in your pocket, ready to help you, every step of the way. Speaking of expert advice, let's revisit that question about handling difficult or aggressive animals. I imagine that even with the best training and preparation, those situations can still be pretty nerve-wracking. What are some additional tips for staying calm and confident when you're faced with a challenging animal?
You're absolutely right. Those situations can definitely get your adrenaline pumping. But remember, the key is to project an aura of calm confidence, both for your own safety and the well-being of the animal. Think of it like this. Animals are incredibly perceptive. They can pick up on our energy and our emotions. If you're feeling anxious or fearful, they'll sense it and they might react accordingly.
So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're expecting the animal to be aggressive, you might inadvertently send signals that trigger that behavior.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to go into those situations with a mindset of calm assertiveness. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself of your training and focus on establishing a sense of safety and predictability for the animal.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I know we talked about de-escalation techniques earlier, but are there any specific body language cues or verbal commands that can help diffuse a tense situation?
Absolutely. Avoiding direct eye contact can be helpful, as it can be perceived as a challenge by some animals. Instead, try to avert your gaze slightly. Maintaining peripheral awareness of the animal's, movements. Speaking in a low, soothing tone can also be calming, as can using a slow, deliberate movements.
So it's about projecting a sense of non-threat and predictability, both through your body language and your voice.
Precisely. And remember, every animal is different. So what works for one might not work for another. That's why it's so important to be adaptable and to continually assess the animal's cues and adjust your approach accordingly.
Right. It's about being observant and responsive, not just following a rigid set of rules. Now, I know RoleCatcher's AI can analyze your responses to interview questions and offer feedback, but does it also provide guidance on body language? And nonverbal communication.
It certainly does. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze video recordings of your practice interviews, providing feedback on your posture, eye contact, hand gestures, and overall demeanor. It can even detect subtle cues like micro expressions that might betray nervousness or uncertainty, helping you project an image of confidence and competence.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having a virtual image consultant right there with you.
Exactly. And that kind of attention to detail can make all the difference in creating a positive first impression and conveying your genuine passion for this work.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the human side of this job again. We talked earlier about the importance of sensitivity and professionalism when discussing your experience working with individuals with mental health issues. But I'm curious, are there any specific therapeutic approaches or modalities that are commonly used in animal-assisted therapy?
That's a great question. Well, animal-assisted therapy is often integrated into a broader treatment plan. There are certain approaches that lend themselves particularly well to this modality. For instance, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can be effectively combined with animal-assisted interventions to help clients, identify and modify negative thought patterns and behaviors. Animals can serve as a source of motivation and positive reinforcement during CBT exercises, making the process more engaging and enjoyable.
So, for example, if a client is working on overcoming social anxiety, a therapy dog could be incorporated into role-playing scenarios to practice, social interaction in a safe and supportive environment.
Exactly. The dog's presence can can help reduce anxiety,
Mm.
provide a sense of comfort, and serve as a social lubricant,
Mm.
making the interaction feel less intimidating.
That makes perfect sense. Now, I know RoleCatcher's career guides provide information on different specializations within animal-assisted therapy, but do they also like delve into the theoretical underpinnings and therapeutic approaches commonly used in this field?
They absolutely do. RoleCatcher's guides go beyond simply describing, different job roles. They also provide a solid foundation in the theory and practice of animal-assisted therapy. You'll find information on different therapeutic models, ethical considerations, research findings, and case studies, giving you a well-rounded understanding of the field.
That's fantastic. It's clear that RoleCatcher is committed to helping aspiring animal-assisted therapists develop a deep understanding of their chosen profession, not just prepping them for interviews. Now, speaking of interviews, let's revisit that question about incorporating animals into therapy sessions. I imagine that interviewers are looking for more than just general ideas. They want to see like concrete examples of how you would actually implement those interventions.
You're absolutely right. It's not enough to simply say, I would use a dog to help a child with autism. You need to be able to paint a vivid picture of how that would look in practice.
So, for instance, you could describe a specific activity or exercise that you would do with the child and the dog, explaining how the dog's presence and interaction would facilitate therapeutic goals.
Exactly. You could say something like, I might have the child practice giving the dog simple commands, like sit or stay, which can help, improve communication skills and build confidence. Or we might engage in a joint activity, like brushing the dog's fur, which can promote sensory regulation and fine motor skills.
Those are great examples. They really bring the intervention to life and show that you've thought about like the practical application of these techniques. Now, I'm curious, does RoleCatcher offer any tools or resources to help you, develop and refine your ideas for animal-assisted interventions?
Yeah. They certainly do. RoleCatcher has a fantastic feature called the Intervention Builder that allows you to create and customize your own animal-assisted therapy plans. You can choose from a library of pre-designed activities, modify them to suit your specific needs, and even add your own unique ideas. The Intervention Builder also provides prompts and guidance to help you think through the therapeutic goals, animal selection, safety protocols, and outcome measures for each intervention.
That's incredible. It's like having a virtual co-therapist right there with you, helping you, brainstorm and plan effective interventions.
It really is. And the best part is that you can save and share your intervention plans, creating a portfolio of your work that you can showcase to potential employers.
That's brilliant. It not only helps you develop your skills, but also provides like tangible evidence of your creativity and expertise. Okay, let's move on to another question that often comes up in interviews. Can you describe a time when you had to adapt your approach or intervention based on an animal's behavior or a client's needs? I imagine that flexibility and adaptability are pretty crucial skills in this field.
They absolutely are. Working with both animals and humans means that things rarely go exactly as planned. You need to be able to think on your feet, read the cues, and adjust your approach accordingly.
So when answering this question, it's important to showcase your ability to problem solve and make decisions in real time based on like the unique needs of the situation.
Exactly. Share an anecdote that highlights a specific challenge you faced, the steps you took to assess the situation, and the adjustments you made to your approach. The key is to demonstrate that you're observant, responsive, and committed to prioritizing the well-being of both the animal and the client.
So, for example, you could talk about a time when a therapy dog became overly excited during a session and you had to like implement a timeout or redirect their attention.
Exactly. Or you could describe a situation where a client was initially hesitant to interact with the animal, and you had to adapt your approach to make them feel more comfortable. The key is to choose an anecdote that showcases your ability to handle unexpected challenges with grace and professionalism.
Now, curious, does RoleCatcher offer any guidance on how to anticipate and address potential challenges that might arise during animal-assisted therapy sessions?
They certainly do. RoleCatcher's career guides include sections on risk management and safety protocols,
Right.
addressing common challenges such as, animal allergies, unexpected behaviors, and client anxieties. They also provide tips for developing contingency plans and emergency procedures, ensuring that you're prepared to handle any situation safely and effectively.
That's fantastic. It sounds like RoleCatcher really, really covers all the bases, preparing you not just for the best case scenarios, but also for the inevitable challenges that come with working in this field. Now, let's talk about another important aspect of animal-assisted therapy, building rapport and trust with the animals. I imagine that this requires more than just, loving animals. It involves a deep understanding of animal behavior and communication.
You're absolutely right. Building a strong bond with the therapy animals is essential for creating a safe and effective therapeutic environment. This involves understanding their body language, respecting their boundaries, and creating positive associations with the therapy setting.
So when answering a question about building rapport with animals, it's important to go beyond simply saying I'm good with animals. You need to demonstrate a deeper understanding of animal communication.
Yeah.
And relationship building.
Exactly. You could talk about specific techniques that you use to build trust, such as positive reinforcement training, desensitization exercises, and creating a predictable and enjoyable routine for the animals.
So, for instance, you could describe how you use treats and praise to reward desired behaviors, how you gradually introduce new stimuli or environments to reduce anxiety, and how you ensure that the animals have plenty of opportunities for rest and play outside of therapy sessions.
Precisely. Those are all great examples of how to demonstrate your commitment to creating a positive and enriching experience for the therapy animals. And here's where RoleCatcher's AI can be incredibly helpful. Once again, their platform includes a feature called the Animal Behavior Analyzer, which allows you to upload videos of your interactions with animals and receive personalized feedback on your communication style and relationship building skills.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like having a virtual animal behavior expert right there with you, providing insights and guidance on how to improve your interactions.
It really is, and that kind of feedback can be invaluable in helping you develop the skills and the confidence needed to build strong and trusting relationships with therapy animals.
Now, let's talk about another crucial aspect of this work, maintaining professional boundaries. I imagine that it can be challenging at times to balance your love for animals with the need to maintain like a professional distance.
You're absolutely right. It's a delicate balance, and it's something that all animal-assisted therapists need to navigate carefully. It's important to remember that the animals are there to facilitate therapy, not to serve as our personal companions or emotional support systems.
So when answering a question about professional boundaries, it's important to emphasize your understanding of the ethical guidelines and your commitment to prioritizing the well-being of both the animal and the clients.
Exactly. You could talk about specific strategies you use to maintain boundaries, such as, avoiding excessive physical affection with the animals during sessions, refraining from discussing personal matters with clients in front of the animals, and ensuring that the animals' needs are always met, even if it means modifying or postponing a therapy activity.
Those are great examples. It shows that you're not just thinking about your own connection with the animals, but also about the integrity of the therapeutic process and the safety and well-being of everyone involved. Now, I'm curious, does RoleCatcher offer any resources or guidance on navigating ethical dilemmas that might arise when working with animals in a therapeutic setting?
They absolutely do. RoleCatcher's career guides delve into the ethical complexities of this field, providing case studies, discussion prompts, and resources for seeking guidance from professional organizations. They also emphasize the importance of ongoing professional development and staying up to date on best practices for ethical animal-assisted therapy.
That's fantastic. It's clear that RoleCatcher is committed to helping aspiring animal-assisted therapists develop a strong ethical foundation and the skills needed to navigate the complexities of this this rewarding but demanding profession. Now let's talk about another aspect of this work that might feel a bit daunting to some: record keeping and documentation. I imagine that there's a lot of paperwork involved in tracking client progress, monitoring animal well-being, and ensuring compliance with ethical guidelines.
You're absolutely right. Accurate and thorough documentation is essential for any healthcare professional, and animal-assisted therapists are no exception. It's important to be organized,
Yeah.
detail-oriented, and diligent in your record-keeping practices.
So when answering a question about documentation, it's important to highlight your understanding of the importance of accurate record keeping and your ability to maintain confidentiality and comply with relevant regulations.
Exactly. You could talk about specific strategies that you use to stay organized, such as using electronic health records, creating standardized templates for progress notes, and implementing secure storage systems for sensitive information.
Those are all great points. Now, I'm curious, does RoleCatcher offer any tools or resources to help streamline the documentation process and ensure compliance with industry standards?
They certainly do. RoleCatcher's platform includes a feature called the Documentation Assistant, which provides templates for progress notes, treatment plans, and other essential documents. It also includes prompts and reminders to ensure that you're capturing all the necessary information and adhering to relevant ethical guidelines and privacy regulations.
Wow, that's incredibly helpful. It takes the guesswork out documentation and helps you stay organized and compliant.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about another aspect of this work that often gets overlooked: self-care. I imagine that working with animals and humans, especially those who are facing challenges, can be emotionally demanding. How do you prioritize your own well-being and avoid compassion fatigue?
That's a crucial question, and it's something that all healthcare professionals need to take seriously. Compassion fatigue is a very real risk in this field, and it's important to have strategies in place to protect your own emotional health.
So when answering a question about self-care, it's important to be honest and authentic about the challenges of this work, and to demonstrate that you have a plan for taking care of yourself.
Exactly. You could talk about specific self-care practices that you incorporate into your routine, such as mindfulness meditation, spending time in nature, engaging in hobbies, or seeking support from colleagues or a therapist. The key is to show that you're aware of the risks of compassion fatigue, and that you're taking proactive steps to protect your well-being.
Those are all great suggestions. And I'm curious, does RoleCatcher offer any resources or guidance on self-care specifically for animal-assisted therapists?
They certainly do. RoleCatcher's career guides include sections on stress management, burnout prevention, and building resilience. They also provide links to resources and support groups for healthcare professionals, recognizing that self-care is an essential component of ethical and sustainable practice.
That's fantastic. It's clear that RoleCatcher is committed to supporting the holistic well-being of animal-assisted therapists, recognizing that taking care of yourself is essential for providing compassionate and effective care to others.
Absolutely. They understand that this work is both rewarding and demanding, and they provide the resources and the support to help you thrive in this unique and impactful profession.
Well, it feels like we've covered a lot of ground today, diving deep into the world of animal-assisted therapy and exploring the key skills and qualities needed to succeed in this field, from handling challenging animals to building rapport with clients, from navigating ethical dilemmas to prioritizing self-care. We've touched on a wide range of topics that will undoubtedly come up during your interview process.
We certainly have, and I think one of the most valuable takeaways from today's deep dive is the importance of showcasing your passion, your knowledge, and your commitment to both animal welfare and human well-being.
Absolutely. Remember, interviewers are looking for more than just technical skills. They want to see that you have a genuine heart for this work, and that you're prepared to embrace both the joys and the challenges that come with it.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher is your secret weapon. They're comprehensive resources, AI-powered tools,
Yeah, yeah.
and personalized guidance can help you refine your answers, highlight your strengths, and present yourself as the ideal candidate.
So go out there, embrace your passion for animals and helping others, and rock that interview. We're cheering you on every step of the way.
And remember, the human-animal bond is a powerful force for healing and growth. Never underestimate the impact you can make in this incredible field.
That's a wrap on part 2 of this deep dive. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit empowering. It's amazing how much we've been able to unpack in this deep dive. It really feels like we've just scratched the surface of what it takes to not only prepare for an animal-assisted therapist interview, but also to excel in this incredibly rewarding career.
It's true. And I think one of the most important takeaways is the importance of continuous learning and professional development. This field is constantly evolving with new research techniques
Yeah.
and ethical considerations emerging all the time. So it's crucial to stay curious, seek out new knowledge, and constantly strive to improve your skills.
Absolutely. And I think that curiosity and that desire to learn are really at the heart of what makes someone a great animal-assisted therapist is not just about following sort of rules or protocols. It's about being attuned to the individual needs of both the animals and the clients.
Yeah.
And being willing to adapt your approach accordingly.
Exactly. It's about being a lifelong learner, always open to new perspectives, new techniques, and new ways of understanding the complex and beautiful interplay between humans and animals.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I wanted to touch on one more question that RoleCatcher highlights in their interview guide. It's a question that asks you to describe your personal philosophy or approach to animal-assisted therapy. I imagine this question is designed to give interviewers a glimpse into your values, your beliefs, and your unique perspective on this work.
You're absolutely right. This question goes beyond simply assessing your technical skills or experience. It's about understanding your heart, your passion, and your vision for how animal-assisted therapy can make a positive impact in the world.
So when answering this question, it's important to be authentic, to speak from your own experience, and to articulate the core values that drive your work.
Exactly. You could talk about your belief in the healing power of the human-animal bond, your commitment to ethical and compassionate practice, your vision for creating inclusive and accessible therapeutic environments, or your passion for advocating for the well-being of both animals and humans.
Those are all beautiful and inspiring sentiments, and I think they really capture the essence of what makes this profession so special. It's not just a job; it's a calling, a way of life, a commitment to making the world a kinder, more compassionate place, one paw print at a time.
Beautifully said, and I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Well, folks, that's a wrap on this deep dive into the world of animal-assisted therapy. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and empowering. Remember, you have the passion, the knowledge, and the resources to succeed in this incredible field.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there every step of the way to support you on your journey. Their expert guidance, AI-powered tools, and personalized feedback can help you shine in your interviews and build a fulfilling career that aligns with your values and your dreams.
So go out there, embrace your passion for animals and helping others and make a positive difference in the world.
We're cheering you on every step of the way.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the things that matter most to you.